How do you bounce back from a burnout? Today, we're not gonna lie.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of NGL People, where we talk about things in life that matter. I'm Zelanie.
And I'm Natasha.
And today is our final episode of 2024.
We made it!
Woo! Yes, and you know, in December, right, it's a great season for many because it is the holidays. It's a time where we can finally slow down, reconnect with our loved ones, go on holiday trips and all that. But there's a sizable number of people, right, where December is the worst month of the year because we are just working so hard. And some of us are on this couch. Exhibit A sitting right in the middle of us. Yeah, you know, like in Christmas, right? That people who are in marketing, in retail, in F&B, it's like, wow, it really is like the time where they work so hard. There's campaigns to launch. And once you think Christmas is over, no, there is New Year's. And then there's also Chinese New Year. Wow,
Then after that, Valentine's Day.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Because I came from advertising line, so it's really the worst for me lah. And Horngjye, you also, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if any of y'all are currently OTing in office because of your role, your industry that requires you to work late hours in a time where everybody is overseas enjoying their life, we got you, man.
Send some hearts.
Virtual hug.
Yeah.
Yeah. And today we want to talk about this whole idea, right, of because of this tension, it leads to work stress and burnout. But at the same time, not just that, but how we actually can try to recover and bounce back as well.
Yeah.
And Exhibit A, which is Horngjye, actually went through the entire stage of burnout.
Almost, actually, almost.
But he lived to tell the tale,
Yes.
like he managed to turn the corner and bounce back. And even right now, is still enjoying his work.
Yep.
Like the very work that caused him that stress and pain and heartache at the very first place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It sounds so dramatic, but okay,
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah, but
true.
Horngjye, why don't you share a little bit about yourself, what you do, so the viewers will get to know you a bit better.
So hi, I'm Horngjye. I work in the media field, media productions. So I make stories, I do short films, this and that kind of thing. Yeah, and a little bit about myself. I really don't like Christmas because Christmas is right before New Year, which is right before CNY, which is right before Easter. Yeah.
So you're basically working hard for like 7 months.
Essentially.
Yeah, so funny because Nata really loves Christmas.
I love
I still
Christmas,
remember.
but maybe I'm the kind of person that he hates in that period of time because I slow down, I take 2-week leave, then I stay at home and just arrange flowers.
Yeah, in the meantime, Horngjye sits at his work desk and grows roots.
Okay lah, it's not so bad lah. Got cobweb, then got dust.
Yeah, but yeah,
So we put flowers on you.
at least
In
he looks
time for
good.
Valentine's also, right?
Yeah, so we want to first talk about what is burnout, right? Like, and apparently
Yeah.
there are different stages of
Yep.
burnout.
I have done my
Clue us
research.
in.
So, okay, what's burnout, right? Did y'all know that there are 5 stages to work burnout?
Oh, is it? I thought it's just like one day you wake up and like,
And then like,
I'm done.
burnt out.
I'm done, man.
No, so there are 5 stages, right?
Oh, okay.
And let me tell you what it is, okay? So it first begins with a honeymoon phase. And this was like extremely interesting to me because when you think of burnout, you would think that you're just like dying. But apparently the first stage to burnout, right, is honeymoon. And it is characterized by a sense of enthusiasm and idealism about your work, where you feel so excited about the work you do, the projects that you've been assigned, right? And you're very, very willing to go above and beyond to give yourself fully to the work you do. And as this goes on, right, you may take on more responsibilities than you should. And this leads to stage 2. Stage 2 is then the onset of stress.
Okay,
When you
makes
begin
sense.
to realize that, actually your job is taking up more time than you would like, right? And you start to experience even symptoms of stress like headaches, anxiety, changes to your sleep patterns. If this continues, you move on to stage 3, chronic stress. In chronic stress, your frustration levels are rising. You're feeling increasingly stressed out. You may also begin to feel sense of resentment, being cynical about your work, being apathetic. And when this continues, it leads to stage 4, burnout. Stage 4 is not the end, So it leads to stage 4 burnout, right? Burnout is when you're increasingly apathetic. It's what I think most of us would assume burnout to be lah. When you're
Just like very
indifferent.
sian, yes.
You may also feel like this sense of like, okay, I just can't do my job, failure, inadequacy, ineptitude, right? And then it leads to stage 5, which is habitual burnout. Which is so sad because you're not just burnout, you are stuck in that state of habitual burnout. When you don't recover, right, it becomes a way of life for you.
Oh no.
And when you're stuck in habitual burnout, you experience things like chronic sadness and even depression.
Talking about it makes me sad.
Yeah, and so actually it's quite
Yeah.
serious. To me, it's like stage 2, you feel a bit stressed and then it leads to chronic stress. Then you feel a bit burnout, then it leads to a chronic habitual
so even
burnout.
in times where actually you don't have a lot of work, you will still feel like you're burnout.
Yes, so it's really a bit like depression really where it's kind of just the state that you live in. So
Okay,
actually when I read
okay.
this, I realized, okay, it's quite serious.
Yeah.
And even in an earlier stage where you're so enthusiastic about your work such that you are so willing to go above and beyond, not that it's always bad, but perhaps we need to really be a bit more careful about the way we are managing what's on our plate to prevent ourselves from falling off this cliff, right? So as we go through the stages, right, I want to ask you all, have you all ever experienced burnout before?
Well, yes. I mean, that's the reason why I'm here, right?
Yeah, you are a case study,
You can bring
right?
us through the different stages.
So in
for you.
the 5 stages, right?
Ah.
Where do you think you reach lah?
I would say, right, I'm at the early onset of stage 4. Like
Wow,
the recognizing, okay, so really thank God I was able to recognize at the
Yes.
start of this whole thing, right, that actually I might be burning out. It's a low grade burnout. already.
Okay. Yeah, low
Yeah.
grade.
So early stage 4.
Early stage 4. Yeah. What about you?
Okay. I would say maybe stage 3, the chronic stress part, and just that feeling of helplessness. Yeah, that like I can't do anything about it because it is my responsibility.
Oh.
If I take like leave, no one is gonna do the work, and when I come back, it's gonna be worse. That kind of mindset. Of course, it may not be true, but yeah, I experienced that. I think. Actually, it kind of makes sense, stage 1, because I remember feeling like that 1 year plus into my work. And it was during Christmas period also.
It's always Christmas.
Yeah. It was about 1.5 years
Like
already.
because Christmas, right? Do you think it's also like expectations versus reality? Where like the outside, okay, maybe not expectations, but like the external environment, right, is very festive, and then you really see people like start to slow down, have a lot of friendship gatherings. But you go for these friendship gatherings after a full day of work.
Dude, I couldn't even go, man.
Oh, man.
You think about it, right? Like Christmas, always sing Christmas carols. It's the most wonderful time of the year.
I sincerely feel it.
Wish you a Merry Christmas.
I'm very merry.
Happy New Year.
Every time I hear, right, I
Happy
will
New
roll
Year.
my eyes a little bit and then like, what the heck? What's so joyful about this? What's so merry about this? I turn into a Grinch every Christmas. Like,
Actually, that's why they're
this green
Grinches,
colour.
lah, right? Because they're all working OT.
all the Grinches work in media
Relate so much with
productions.
the Grinch.
Yeah. The Grinch who stole Christmas came from his office.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
so
yeah.
I think for me, I would say maybe I've experienced like stage 2. And actually, when I was reading this, right, I feel it's quite interesting because if you just ask about burnout, right, I wouldn't say that I have experienced burnout before or that I've gotten to burnout. But when I read through the 5 stages, right, I realized like it's not hard to be at stage 2. Like actually, if you live in a, like especially in a fast-paced society,
Yes.
work life, right, somewhere like
Yes.
Singapore, in many of our work environments, like there are a lot of responsibilities, and I guess chances are that when you tend to be doing well with some capacity, then more work comes your way, lah.
Yes, and I think
Right?
if you inherently also have a work ethic that
Some
you want
drive.
to
The
do
drive.
well.
Yeah. it's the drive.
So I
Confirm
realized
stage
reading
2.
this that actually, when you're at stage 1, stage 2, you can very easily just see it as a normal part of work life. And I do think to some degree it is a normal part of work life. It's just then maybe how do we learn to manage our stress so that it
To not-
doesn't escalate
go
into
into
chronic
that
stress
stage.
and then
Yeah.
burnout.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to hear from Horngjye in your story, right? Like, how did you get there? What happened?
Okay, so I've always likened this whole burnout thing, right, to be like driving a car. You're
Okay.
driving it, right? You're like full speed ahead, gonna drop off the cliff already. So you're always in control until you're not.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is
So,
that point where you
The point
Drive off the cliff already, lor.
I
Right.
would say stage 4 lah, is when you drop off,
Yeah.
you drive off the cliff lah.
Just
And then
free falling, but knowing
stage
you're gonna
5 you are
crash,
just falling.
No,
You
yeah,
cannot-
quite
but that's why
scary.
like before you read out the stage thing, right? Like you would think that like last time I used to think burnout is like one day you wake up, then you just like,
Yeah.
wow, I
I'm
can't do
done.
this
Yeah,
anymore.
you're at the bottom of the mountain already.
Yeah, but then all along you think you're in
Yeah.
like you think that you got things under control, but maybe you didn't even realize like there was a cliff.
You're
like you're driving
fast.
towards a
Driving too
cliff.
fast already.
Yeah.
Interesting. So you were at that point where you were driving very fast.
So okay, a little backstory about myself, right? I my current job now is also my very first job when I graduate from uni. When I first graduated out, right, I really, really wanted to make a difference in the world.
Yeah.
Like all
Through the stories, the videos.
correct.
Yeah.
All fresh grads, you think the world is an oyster. You can make a difference. So that's stage one lah. So bright eye, or I want to do everything I can, then go all out. I OT. Then 5-day work week, right? I want to finish my work by Tuesday.
Are you crazy, dude?
What? But
I love it.
Then you do
this is
what
the
from
drive.
Wednesday to Friday?
Other
Do
work
more work, take on more
lah.
projects.
Ask other people.
Honeymoon.
Exactly.
Yes.
So only after the first year of work, right, that I realized, hey, you work on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Also consider work. You don't have to finish everything on Tuesday.
I believe that's what your contract says. Oh my gosh.
Young ma, dumb ma,
Wow.
also
Okay,
broke
okay.
lah.
So do you experience stage 2 in this?
So
Do you very quickly go into stage 2?
So stage 2 is the
Stage 2 is like
stress,
onset
right?
stress,
of stress.
yeah.
Yeah. So obviously, after a while, you realize that
yeah.
you
Take on more than you can chew.
Yeah, so you finish your work on Wednesday. Then like, cannot. I should finish it on Tuesday. Then you impose some stress on yourself. Then at the same time, right, you already take on other things, ma.
Yeah.
Then you realize that actually all these things need time to do. Then it starts to eat into your like after work. Then
Yeah.
it starts to eat into
Yes.
your Saturday.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
the whatever that kind of stuff lah. Then after that, you stress. Then you bitter. Then you're like, why the world so difficult? Why is my workplace the people all so jialat one? All don't want to do work, all give me the work. Actually is you do yourself. You ask for it. Like you set yourself up for it lah, essentially.
Yeah.
So after the first year, right, I learned how to pace myself, learn how to slow down, learn how to accurately measure how much your plate can take.
Okay.
Oh, that's a
then-
big thing.
Yes,
Accurately
yeah.
measuring.
Yeah.
Like your plate is not like the Western food plate. Maybe it's a chicken rice plate. It's
No,
a bit
it's
smaller.
the fine dining, the appetizer plate.
maybe.
Yeah.
First year of work is appetizer, then slowly upgrade.
It's
to
true,
like
it's true. Your plate gets bigger as
Gets
you work
bigger.
longer. Yeah.
So don't see your boss can do so much, then you I want to do also. Then you go
Right.
and do.
Then
COVID happened. So what made it worse during the COVID at time, right? It's like the company will stop functioning. Because for me,
your role became extra important during
correct.
COVID.
So
lah,
for me,
digital
right,
production.
so
Yeah.
everything, whatever events that we run, whatever classes that we have to do, all became video.
Yeah.
So then being the one of two guys who is doing
the media production.
media production in our organization, right? If I don't do my work, then the organization
Yeah,
just
it can't function.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because your role requires the technical skills that no
Yeah.
one can just learn
it's
overnight,
not
right?
overnight that you can do and do it well.
Right.
So it's like everything will come down to two of us. Then we'll disseminate our
shag.
thing. So it's like a bottleneck there.
Yeah.
Then the whole helplessness of the situation, right? You see everything, you know the work is important. Then you know that there is a purpose. You know it's important, purpose, but there's just too much work. I really wanted to make every video my best. So I kind of gave
Okay,
like
okay.
100% to everything. Then during COVID that time where I wanted to give the 100%, I realized I don't have 100% to give.
Wow.
At best, right, I can give maybe 60 here. So that I don't end up giving 30% on another project.
Because there's just too many videos.
There's too many things. Contrast with the fact that you want to take a break. Your people tell you that it's important to take a break. Yeah. Then you take one break. I take a break. Then the stop close shop
Yeah, no Christmas. Christmas
Yeah.
is cancelled.
The green shimmy will be so happy.
That would
But
be so sad.
I will be devastated. I tell you, then I burn out.
Yeah, so for Horngjye, it was
Yeah.
really like you were the essential worker back then lah. It's like doctors cannot like just
Just go
and
nurses all.
take
That's what
break,
happened to the nurses. They
Yeah.
can't don't go work.
then people clap for them.
Yeah,
If you remember.
Yes.
Then nobody clapped for media
clapped for me.
production. Oh no.
Not that clapping helped, but it showed.
What were some things that you began to recognize in yourself, that made you realize that actually maybe I'm really at that chronic stress or like entering that low grade burnout?
For me at that point in time, I became a few things immediately that comes to mind, right? Socially withdrawn.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to people. When I meet my friends, right, then I hear them say about how their life is difficult. Then I just quit your job.
Like a bit
You are-
apathetic already. Is it?
Apathetic, yeah.
And you are quite social by nature.
I'm an extrovert by nature.
You like to meet your
Right.
friends.
I like to be
right?
around people so that I feed off their energy and it
Yeah.
leaves me
Yeah,
energized.
yeah.
But at the point of time, I was very surprised. Like when I meet them, I talk to them, then I like, wow,
Even more
drain,
drained.
oh.
yeah, drained. Then there was no joy in your work. Then as I open up the project in front of me, right, I look at it, right, it's just like, wow, it's like a machine, right, and then you're just a cog, and then your job is to make sure that you turn, and then you don't break down. That's all. Yeah. Okay, so I got to the point where like I know if I don't do, the thing will close, but I can't feel anything about it. So you stop feeling things. Yeah. You wake up, no joy. You don't feel joy. You don't feel even like negative emotions. You don't feel angry. You just like
Numb.
girl like that. Oh.
Numb.
I also wonder whether this like, you know how like some people are not very aware when they're very stressed. Like I think it's an awareness that we cultivate over time. Sometimes maybe because we go through a very, very bad season, right? Then after that you realize that, okay, this is how my stress manifests. But I have friends who actually cannot really tell that they're very stressed until their body begins to indicate to them that they're not okay. For example, they begin to fall sick quite a bit. I have a friend who like, you know, every time she's very stressed at work and she's very overwhelmed, right? Her complexion will break out like mad. Like she'll get all sorts of little bumps, and that is really her sign that she's stressed, because nothing triggers these like bumps other than like stress lah. And even at that point, right, she doesn't feel she's stressed, you know,
Oh.
but her body is breaking down. And actually I identify with that because like I think I have a relatively high stress tolerance. Like I can go on for quite long and keep running, and I don't exactly feel tired or even like apathetic or what. To me, it's like I want to get it done, and like I can keep going, but my body will indicate to me when I'm too tired. Like my immunity will become quite bad, or like I feel mine is mostly immunity. Like I begin to be very, very tired, fall sick easily. Then when I fall sick, I also very sian because there's so much work there's to be done. I hate being sick and being like taken out of action, right? But normally once I fall sick, I like, okay, jialat, I think I need to slow down.
already.
Yeah.
Okay, so you won't power
Yeah.
through even when you're sick. I have friends that work like when they're sick.
I will if I need to, because
if you need
sometimes
to lah.
deadlines are
Yeah,
deadlines,
right.
right?
Yeah.
I cannot like, sorry, there's an important event. Can we push it one day? Because I sick today. You know, we can't what.
Can
but,
we postpone Christmas?
Yeah. Can we postpone Christmas to February? like, so you can't do that. So I feel it's also a little bit grey because sometimes there's also like the responsibility of being a good worker and taking ownership of
Yes.
your work, right? But to me, at least, I take that as an indicator that I cannot procrastinate my rest for too long more. I went through this season this year where like, because I kind of am somewhat new to my role. Like it's my first full year like doing this new role, right? And so I'm still getting used to the yearly rigor of it. You know, every year there's a certain calendar, some peak seasons, some lull seasons that you go through. So I think this year was me like kind of adjusting to that, right? And I realized that in my current role, the mid-year period, right, is crazy. Like because of the role that I play, right, there's just a lot of events that are jam-packed into that whole mid-year period from May all the way to maybe like late August, early September, right? At the same time, we're doing NGL.
Yeah.
And I love doing NGL. I love my work as well. And so all these things that I'm doing are important to me. So in my heart, I'm very, very willing to work hard and very willing to give my best, right? And all along, I planned for a break at the end of that September period, right? But after running through it, I realized that, oh my gosh, actually, it's quite hard
The break, how long?
Like I still can tahan till end September, but I'm scraping the bottom of my barrel already. Like
by
if
July,
you
August,
postpone
you-
my break by another 2 more weeks or
You cannot
like cannot already. Like I'm really quite
Wow.
tired. And my indicator was that I fell sick. Like I fell sick quite badly. I took like 1 whole week to recover from a stupid blocked nose, you know. Like every morning wake up, my nose very congested, voice very low, very nasal.
Yeah. Oh,
that kind of feeling.
man.
So but if anything, I think I am learning to see this and then realize that, okay, then next year let me do better. Let me make some adjustments. If I know that this is gonna be my annual calendar, right? I don't want to just like suck thumb and like, too bad lor, my work is just like that. So I just kind of have to deal with it. But I feel like if the work is important to me, maybe there's a way for me to really properly think through how do I present a healthy self to the work that I do? How do I find pockets of time to rest properly, right? So that the things that are important to me, I can continually give my best to without having it deplete me, you know? And I think that is the thing that is quite hard to learn sometimes, because there's also things like when do we take a break? Can we take a break? Is it right to take a break? You know,
Yeah,
have you
like,
felt this kind of thing?
there was this article that came out recently that a lot of employees feel guilty for officially applying for annual leave. Like, let's say, you know, you're away for like a week, 2 weeks, that like they don't apply for leave at all, but they secretly take breaks during their work hours.
Oh.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, but I really like resonate with the guilt last time, especially when I was new into like the workforce, in my 20s. Yeah, like without fail, right? Every time I go on holiday, I always bring my laptop. Yeah, I don't know why. Like it's like a security blanket. It's like I feel like somehow I still need to be contactable.
What is
For
that
work.
guilt? Like you feel bad to burden other people with your work or what?
I think it's like I'll do like my best to do a handover
yeah.
and all. But I think like as if let's say it's a particularly busy season, or you know, sometimes we cannot predict when other colleagues have take MC or fall sick, or maybe there's a important project, but I already scheduled and applied for leave before that project was assigned to me. Yeah, so in a sense, like my supervisor, she's very nice and she will, you know, say, no, just go. But like maybe sometimes like I see her very, very busy, then I'll feel bad. So I think the guilt may not necessarily come from external culture, but sometimes I think inherently like I would feel a sense of responsibility.
Wow.
Do y'all feel that also? Or like when you go on holiday or what, like do you actually like don't check work messages, don't check
I'm
emails?
so
I don't
happy
know
to
so.
be off work.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, but I think it's
Really,
like it is my boundary. And this was something that actually my first supervisor taught me to set.
Okay.
Because the nature of my work is that I handle a lot of people issues. And so I mean technically they could contact me during my work hours, but sometimes when
everybody
things
feel
happen,
emo after 10 p.m. one.
correct. Then like
They will,
people
like, only
text
text
me
you.
like I mean I can reply them during my work hours lah, but they're free to text me whenever they want, right? So I still see the notification and things like that.
Yeah, how
So
you
my
handle that?
supervisor actually taught me from the start, right? Like how to really gut my off day. So he told me from the start that okay, this job that we do it's a very demanding job emotionally, energy wise, right? And if you know that you are somebody who really needs alone time to recharge, it is extremely important that from the start you learn how to set some boundaries to protect that for yourself and not wait until you are drained then you begin to try to set some boundaries to recover. Maybe because I'm super like I really don't want to burn out. Like I don't ever want to be at a place where like I'm incapacitated and all. So the minute I see a little bit of like symptoms of me being a bit more tired or like starting to fall sick or like wow I'm very irritable, I keep complaining. Actually I keep talking about how I'm so tired and all, right?
Yeah.
Like those to me are indicators that oh my gosh I better rest soon. So last time I feel I was a bit rigid in terms of my definition of rest. I always feel like okay then I need to find a block out time or like a few days or like 1 week. But it's very hard lah to find a good time, at least in my role, right? And it feels like there's never a good time to take block leave. I'm the kind of person that the last 2 weeks of the year, I like block out, take 2 weeks leave, clear my annual leave all at one shot. Then I'm so happy. Then Horngjye is very angry. Then, but
The reason why you're stressed, right?
that was always my version of rest. But I think over time I realized that it's not very sustainable for that to be my only version of rest. So now once I start to realize that there are some symptoms of me maybe being a little bit overworked, a bit tired, right? I try to find the next best available time, even if it's a short stop. Like just take 1 day leave or take half day leave or to just sleep in and in some sense regain control of my time to know that this is my time and I can decide to do whatever I want with it on my own terms. And that I feel helps to recharge me a bit to know that I'm in control of my life. It's not like my work defines my life and I'm just like always answering to work requests at all moments.
Which is very cool because at the end of it, right, like you, like I see like the nature of your work is not very strict and obvious 9 to 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you are still intentional to build in some sort of rhythm or structure.
Yeah.
Right.
It sounds like a lot of these kind of boundaries and this kind of safeguards are in your honeymoon state. You have to set it up and
Yes.
it has to be
And I'm
ready
very
there.
thankful that my supervisor like in some sense forced me to do it at the start.
Right.
Yeah.
You were probably already in your stage 3, stage 4 where you felt a bit apathetic and
Yeah.
also like how did your recovery look like?
It began with this little step where I wanted to take back control of so when you're driving off the cliff, that kind of thing. If you're going to go back to the analogy,
So actually, your work is in the driver's seat. You're just
Yeah.
in the passenger seat screaming.
You were sitting in the passenger seat, then the car careening forward. Then now you climb back into the driver's seat. You start
Okay.
to slow the car down.
Yeah.
Then you realize that actually, actually I can dictate the terms when I'm working, when I'm not, and then if let's say if work gets very very stressful, I can take a step back and then do other things. I used to wake up then straight away work, but then now I put in one little bit of like maybe exercise. Maybe in the morning I wake up, I grind coffee. I make coffee for myself.
So you don't start your day.
Yeah,
with
you don't
work
start
lah.
your day working like your work. Suddenly, when you wake up, then your work, your mind.
Yeah.
Now it's the 8 hours I want. Now it's
Yeah.
16 hours I want.
But you know, sometimes I feel it's a spillover problem. It's because you
What do
are
you
so, like the night before, right? You do work until you're so tired that you sleep very little, and so you want to maximize your sleep. And so you sleep to the latest time possible so you can wake up and then you immediately start work. That was me during the whole circuit breaker.
But if you think about it, right, that means work is dictating
Correct.
what you do.
Yeah.
And that is actually not very healthy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it's like sometimes you
essentially,
just need to hard set lah.
You
like,
have to, yeah.
force yourself to like, okay,
I realized this
just
thing
wake up
about
early one day
yeah,
and reset the whole thing.
I realized this thing about boundaries, right? Like if you set already and then you don't enforce it, right? No one's gonna enforce it for you.
It's true.
Yeah.
And
Your
that's
supervisor,
ownership lah.
yeah,
Of
your supervisor
own rest.
isn't gonna like. She's not your mother.
I think
lah. He
at
or
the
she
end
is
of the
not
day,
parents.
like our work obligations is that we produce what is needed at a specific time. But how we get there, it is our own ownership to decide how we want to do it in a most sustainable way for us also. And that looks different for different people. So
Yeah.
it's not like we should expect like our colleagues or supervisors to know what works for us.
Actually, as we're talking about this, right, I'm wondering also whether it's kind of like a habit that we inherit from our student years that we need to slowly correct. And I speak for myself because like in my student years, right, like the nature of uni life is that you chiong for one semester and then you get a good break. And during your good break, right, you really can shut off if you don't take internships and stuff like that. And so my system of working last time, right, is I'm a very good sprinter. And I can sprint for a long time. Like I can sprint for 13 weeks straight, right? At 15 weeks actually, you want to count the exams and all. Like high intensity. And then my summer, I rocked. My summer, just like at home,
Fade
finish
away.
like one whole season of this show in one day. Like
Yes.
don't leave my bed.
Yeah,
Until
and-
my mother scold me.
Yeah, and you know exactly when that will start. Like
Yeah,
the
then
school
actually when
dictates it
summer
for
ends,
you.
then you very sad lah, because you know that the sprint is happening. So it's like if you think about it in a race, right? I really run, then I just collapse and like lie on the track until the next moment that I need to stand up and run again. But when I stand up, I'm very sian because I know the run will be very tiring.
Yeah.
Then I run again until the next time, then I collapse. But adulthood is not like that. Adulthood is really a marathon.
Yeah.
Like you don't get to sprint. I mean, you can sprint, but you are really, really, really going to collapse. And like the finishing line is nowhere in sight. It's not like you run NAFA or you run a few rounds, you can count down. It's running a stand chart race, right? Where you cannot see the stupid finishing line. I run from ECP, then I end up at MBS. Then like actually where does it end? I don't know. I cannot ever see, you know?
Yeah,
You just keep
yeah.
running and running. And I
Yeah.
feel because of that, it's important to really learn to pace yourself well. The way you would run a marathon is very different, right? From the way you would run like a short, like 100-meter race. And with that, then you have to equip yourself with skills and force yourself to be disciplined in keeping up with these skills if you really want to be able to continue to run and
Yeah.
not collapse. And
Yeah,
sometimes we
yeah,
have
so
to, right?
true.
Because cost of living is high. We cannot don't run and don't work, right?
Yeah, I think one good way of pacing, right, is I think this idea of planning your schedule, right, in how you want to take your breaks rather than to let your work schedule dictate
Wow.
what kind of breaks
Yeah.
you can have.
Even the day to day, if you want to talk about the very micro level, you go for run, exercise.
It's like putting having the habit of being able to put work aside for a while. lah.
So when you want to go for break, right, in your like that season of busyness, some of the things that I used to do is to try to schedule my shoots earlier. So all the things that I can control, I can have a say in, right? I try to move things forward so that I leave a gap for myself. So essentially, you are planning your calendar on your own terms rather than always basing it off what your work needs you to do.
Right.
So I recognize and disclaim a bit that I am blessed enough to have like this ability to do it. That my work is flexible in some sense.
Okay, yeah.
So it's really revolves a lot around like how much you can plan, how much you can shift, and then try your best to
have these kind of conversations maybe
Yeah.
earlier with your team.
yeah, correct.
Yeah, I really like what you said about having conversations. And in fact, I feel it's a good way to kind of also test the kind of work environment that you're in, whether it's a place where you can get sincere help for some of the troubles that you're facing. I feel for some people, the struggle is that maybe you are in a workplace that is not very respectful of boundaries, or you're in a workplace where it's not safe to have some of these conversations, and you're kind of just expected to suck it up. Clearly, management knows that there's bad management, there's a lack of manpower, but they are just kind of
Just pushing.
work onto you. I know people who are in situations like that now, and they're just like tired and burnt out all the time. I feel like these moments would then be good points to actually take a step back to reevaluate what is important to you in a workplace culture, and is this the kind of workplace that you may want to commit yourself to?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, true.
maybe something like that can be quite hard to figure out on your own also, when internally you're already tired and your mind is messy. And I feel it's helpful to speak with friends who are from a different workplace environment, who can kind of speak as an objective party into your work situation, or you can even like seek more professional opinions, whether it is through career counseling, through a professional counselor, right? To kind of talk through some of these things to get some objective help on whether you're in a toxic workplace environment, and whether you should actually get out,
'cause
rather
that's-
than just trying to manage it.
Yeah, that's part of also taking control.
Yes,
Of
and that's part
your
of
life.
pacing yourself for the long haul, which is adulthood, not just
Not
work
just
in
just
this
that
organization.
organization. Yeah.
So yeah. What are some things that you guys intentionally put into your schedule right now to kind of pace yourself for the long haul?
So for me, I picked up cycling when I'm one of those COVID cyclists, but like cyclists.
Then after that, you'll sign up for a marathon. Then
Oh,
you must
no,
wear the
I-
finisher tee and
Cycling marathon or
post
running.
on Instagram.
I really don't like running, so not yet.
Running will make me burn out.
I will run at a 4-minute pace. Then after that, crash and burn.
I
then you
see.
become a
That's
eight-
why you are our
8-minute
case
pace.
study for today. It's the way you live your life, right?
Yeah.
You run too fast already lah.
Need to pace.
Yeah. Okay, but yes, you picked up cycling.
I picked up cycling. Actually, during this whole season, the whole COVID season, I read up somewhere, right, that exercise helps your brain release some happy hormones, oxytocin or something like that lah.
Endorphins and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah, correct. So when you run and exercise, your all these kind of hormones come out, right? It helps you relax. It helps you feel better. Like I kid you not. For me, it worked. I don't know whether I'm blessed or I'm lucky enough to feel that way, but it worked for me. It doesn't work for my wife for some reason. Then what are other things I do? I try to learn new things.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a luxury to be bad at something.
Because it means you can grow.
It means you can grow. It means you don't have that expectation for you to perform.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can take it at your own pace. You can be new at something again. And that newness
It's refreshing at
is
times.
refreshing. Yes.
It's true.
Something that you have never tried before, you go and do. Yeah. Then add some sun into my life. Like
literally?
SUN. Yeah, literally.
Get in the sun.
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D.
Ah.
I guess I'm a more nature person. So for me, right, when work, right, Christmas season, you go to office before the sun rises. Then you work. You leave after the sun sets.
Yeah.
It's quite miserable.
You know, like Londoners, they have this thing called SAD, right? Seasonal affective disorder. Because like it's always raining and it's
always
winter and
really
sad.
gloomy,
Ours is like sad because you're always in the office.
But same thing, no sun.
No
Yeah,
sun.
yeah.
So some sun, some vitamin D actually works wonders for you. So if you are in the media industry and you are editing non-stop, give the sun a shot. Yeah.
Go edit in the sun.
So,
Bring your
so
laptop
lunchtime,
outside to the
lunchtime don't
balcony.
tapao back to office. Go and sit
Go
in
out
the
and
sun.
Yeah, just go out and eat.
Just
yeah.
go out and then
It's okay
breathe in
one. You
fresh air.
can go out for a 1 hour lunch.
If you really need some like
No, when you
excuse,
waiting
right?
to render your
Correct.
video lah.
Go and hit render. Then
Pray your com.
open up a
A
few
bit
more
slow.
Chrome tabs. Then your com slow down. Then you go out.
Go
Then
downstairs
you-
buy orange juice. Every office building downstairs got one orange juice.
Yes,
I
yes,
do.
a vending machine.
Yeah. Just take back control and then try to slow down. I think no one's really expecting you to like work.
Sit there and watch the thing render.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
go out and take a breather,
Yeah.
from some fresh air.
One of the things I picked up was like hobbies where both my hands are like my hands are so busy that I cannot check my phone, or my hands are so dirty that I cannot check my phone. So in that period of time, I got super
Force
into
yourself.
baking. Because baking, like, you know, I'm always touching butter or like make
Yeah,
like,
you
bread,
confirm
make
cannot,
scones,
like,
right? Like I
check your
really have
laptop.
to like be
Yes.
fully in. At most, I just see the iPad recipe, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So having that kind of like a few hours blocked out for me to just do something and be fully focused on that without like multitasking and thinking about work on the side or replying to some requests. That was very helpful for me. Like so through that whole work from home life, right? I got into baking, I got into embroidery, I restarted crocheting, every single thing that you use your hands to do and like cannot check your phone. Wow, I
Yeah.
love it. Research has also shown that having a lazy day a week, right, really, really has a lot of benefits on a person's physical health and mental health. Some people say that it's the secret to success. So I tell my husband, see, that's why I'm so successful. I lie on the sofa all the time. On my off day, I just like, me and the sofa are one and we do not separate until 10 p.m.
Today is my horizontal day.
Yes, today's my horizontal day. I only get up to pee, eat, and touch the remote to change my show. Yeah. But yeah, I think like having like that time blocked out where you get to really take your mind off of work and focus on something else. If you find it hard to focus on nothing, then maybe finding something else to focus on that is not work. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was what helped me lah.
I think for me, right, like just now I mentioned how for some reason in my 20s, I had this mindset that I had to always be contactable, always available. I realized that actually what helped me to really put my mind at rest, because physically, like my body is at rest, but your
Oh,
mind
yes.
sometimes still keep churning
Running
and
lah,
all.
yeah.
And I really felt what helped me to break free out of that mindset, right, was really to have a conversation, with like my team, my fellow colleagues, and my boss as well on like what I felt rest could look like for me and whether they are okay with that. They actually didn't have the expectation that when I'm on holiday, right, I will still be like online, I will still be checking my email. So I think a lot of it, right, after having these kind of conversations were in my head. Finally, when I had all these conversations, when it was out in the open, right, then that was where I really could like let go. Yeah, so I'm happy to say that I don't bring like my laptop to holidays anymore. But at the same time, I also will say like, if there's anything urgent, like you can text me and I will look at it when I have the time to, rather than like, I'll look at it like all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I felt like having this kind of setting up these things that I felt could help me, but also at the same time checking back with my supervisors, my colleagues, also help them to, I guess, help me as well, like then they will know when to text, or they will know like how to, word maybe certain things like, hey, you're overseas now, so you can check this like, like when you're back. Yeah, but I just need to send this out so that like, it is on like everyone's radar. It's like sometimes you get CC in emails, but you don't have to action on it. So I think like that actually really helped me a lot. And I guess all the things that y'all mentioned, things like exercise, taking breaks and all, like these are things that I also do right now lah. Yeah, which I realize, when we start doing these things, right, it's not like we keep thinking we need to go for like a 2-week holiday just to recharge. Yeah, actually quite happy to. I think, and I realize it's really more sustainable to be able
Your
to plan it
wallet
in.
will not be able to sustain your 2-week holidays every time you feel tired.
After that, you feel like you need to work
True lah.
to like get back what you spent.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I really like all the things that we brought up today. I feel like it covered quite a wide spectrum of like really going through that whole process of like stress and then recovering from it. But if anything, I also feel like it's okay that we are work in progress in this journey. Sometimes when you, especially if you really have hit rock bottom, right, in that burnout, and then you enter stage 5 of chronic burnout, it can just feel like I'm just like stuck, and I'm not gonna recover. I think especially when there's feelings of depression, generally with depression, it is quite hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm sure for you going through that in COVID, that was one of the things, right? There's just no idea when this whole thing will end.
It was a really close shave. So, so it's all the more important that when you start to experience these kind of things, it's important to voice out.
Yes.
It's important to ask for help.
Yeah. And I feel it's okay that as young adults, when we are figuring out our work life and maybe hitting some bumps in the road in terms of like, actually I don't know how to rest, I don't know how to pace myself, I don't know how to manage my workload, it's okay to say you don't know, and it's okay to figure things out. It doesn't mean that you have failed just because you're in a
You
season
cannot
where,
like control.
yeah, you're in a season where you feel so tired, you feel even incapacitated. Like that's not the end of the road lah. We can pick ourselves up, we can seek help, even professional help if that is necessary for you to maybe even like, you know, figure out how do I really reorder my life with the help of a professional who can help to look into some of my habits, some of my like
Mindsets.
internal narratives and beliefs, right? To rework that from a deeper level. Yeah, so it's okay to be a work in progress, and in fact it's a good thing to be a work in progress, because as we do this, we become healthier lah. It's like you employ a coach for your marathon training lor. You don't just like whack yourself and try to run, then you get injured all over the place. Then actually suddenly your ankle is permanently injured and you can never run a marathon again.
Yeah.
But you hire a coach to teach you and like, hey, actually you're form wrong. You're form wrong, that's why you're so tired when you run.
Or maybe if your
Actually, you can
ankle
run
always
better.
like injured, then you can strengthen.
Yes,
how
then the
to
coach will
strengthen
tell
that
you
part.
go for rehabilitation, take a break for a while, and then when you come back, these are ways to run so that as you're recovering, you don't injure it more. So I think getting that professional help, speaking to friends, even career counselling and things like that, these are things that kind of act as that coach to guide you through the running process lah. Yeah. So yeah, we hope that this was a helpful conversation for you especially if you're navigating a very busy season at work now. But even if it's not now, if you have felt burnout before, or if you're currently in a season where you're still trying to navigate your way out of burnout, we hope that Horngjye's story encourages you that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it is possible for us to come out of it and establish good systems of rest as well as refreshment. If you are in need of any help, please feel free to reach out to our DMs and send in some of the questions that you may have. We will try our best to answer it or send you some links to professional help if we know what is helpful.
Yeah.
And so if you know anybody who is in need of a conversation like that, please feel free to send this video to them, and we really, really hope that it will bring some sense of understanding and companionship to them as they're navigating something that's so difficult.
Yeah.
So if you like our episodes, you can find more on our channel. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find us on social media at ngl.people on Instagram and TikTok. And you can join our Telegram channel where we show behind the scenes footage as well as information about our upcoming events where you can come to recharge and rest with fellow young adults. So with that, we've come to the end of our episode for today, and we'll see you in the next one next year. Bye!
Bye.